Told you not to. Ready?
Right?
All right.
Hell yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Unsolicited Lifting Advice. My name is Sam.
My name is Manus.
And we have a good one for you today, folks. This has been in the making for... we've been talking about this, you and me, since day one.
Yeah, when we came up with the idea, before we recorded the first episode, we went through, hey, who do we want to bring on? And you were either the first name out of our mouths or like one of the first.
You were
three.
top 5, we're not bullshitting you.
Oh my god, that's
Not kidding.
so exciting.
We've been excited for this one.
So, guest, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jamie. I am a personal trainer in the District of Columbia, Vita Fitness specifically. Yeah, that's all I got really in terms of introduction.
Totally cool. So we know you. We all work together at the famous watering hole, RJ Bentleys. Shout
the
out.
old filling
Yep.
station.
The filling station. So that's where we met. Back. Oh, it's been like over
2015, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a good while. So shout out to.
I was your regular for a while. You should
Yeah.
come get drunk with me.
I think we all start as regulars there, and then it slowly absorbs.
Yeah.
Well, like you were bouncing, so I was like, I can just show up and walk in, and then, well, we're friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can sit
Yeah.
down here and get, have a beverage or two. Or
I
more.
feel like Bentleys is where that was like my defining experience in college. I feel like I was in a sorority, but fuck that. I was bartending at Bentleys.
Yeah.
Like that was
It was the place, like, in the social hierarchy of a college as big as UMD, like, being a bartender or bouncer at the most popular bar, it's kind of hard to beat, because, like, you're already at the spot everyone wants to be at, but you don't have to pay to get in there. And you're actually getting paid to be there.
Yeah, and I made a shit ton of money there, too.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
No, it was quite the time. We have stories for days. But we'll start on track. We'll get quickly off track. So can you tell us your introduction into the fitness world, both as something you do personally and then also as a career?
Sure. Yeah, so I guess I started just like dilly-dallying in the gym in high school. I played high school sports, not to the extent that made me play in college or beyond that. But I started as a little cardio bunny, like running a shit ton, I guess at the beginning of college, supplementing it with lifting. Obviously, as I lifted more, I figured out like what I was doing. I always wish that I had videos of myself like lifting at age 18, because I'm sure it was absolutely atrocious.
Lifting at 22 for us was garbage.
This is also like the second week in a row where we've got someone saying, guys, take fucking progress pictures.
Yes.
Just like record all of this.
Yeah, seriously. I tell all my clients, take videos, pictures, whatever you gotta do. So I just, I essentially just became like a gym rat in college. And like as I started lifting more, I started doing cardio less as it goes. And then I got out of college and I started working, kind of bounced around a little bit. I essentially got an adult job and I was going to the gym every morning and I was like, wow, I hate my job. And I had 2 jobs right out of college. One, I started as an event coordinator, and then I worked in an office, which was a much more like office-y setting, like a 9 to 5. It was like a basement office, so like in the winter I never saw sunlight, and I was like, this fucking sucks. And I was like, I just want to work in a gym. And I was like, I don't really care what I do. So while I was working in the office, I didn't do anything at that job. So I was studying for my NASM personal training certification. And then I got hired part-time as a trainer at Vita in like May of 2019. So I was working my office job, and then I would just like sprint to the gym afterwards and like train a few clients and then go home. And then by the end of the year, I was like, I'm just going to quit my office job and become full-time personal trainer. And then that's what, it was a year and a couple months ago. And then I'm here.
So you don't need a collegiate education in exercise physiology or exercise science to become a good personal trainer.
Correct. But I don't think they would have hired me if I didn't have a bachelor's degree.
Okay. But so your undergrad wasn't in
Journalism.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone with the dedication can do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty lit. Something I've definitely admired about, because you post your stuff on your Instagram page, which we'll shout out.
Jamie Rapp _, JAMRAPP.
Lit. So something I've admired for a while is your dedication and stressing of the process, and that it takes time. So specifically, your pull-up progress.
Yeah.
So this was a year and a half ago where you started showing, I am doing this motion to begin strengthening these muscles, and you were very consistent showing the progress you were making and how it took time. And you went from not being able to do a single pull-up to now you rep them out like a champ. And I thought that's super important. And one thing we talk about a lot is like reality and how like big fitness culture, 8 weeks to perfect fitness or 7 days to benching your house, like that's not good for normal people.
Right.
Anyone, but definitely
unless
not.
you're on steroids. I mean, hey.
Yeah, and then even still, process helps. But like your dedication to and your example of, hey, do the work. This is going to take time, and you will see the results. I think is very admirable, and people should definitely pay attention to that. That it does take time, and it's not going to happen overnight or in 8 weeks or whatever you're being sold kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like, as humans, we're always looking for like a quick fix or like a, in 4 weeks this will happen. And that's honestly a question that I get a lot out of new clients that have never like really followed like a strength training program or any kind of like gym routine before. Is it like, so how long until I see results? And I'm like, well, wishy-washy answer always, because like you'll see like maybe a difference in photos, 6 weeks, maybe if you're super consistent. Like actual gains, like you need to be consistent for at least a year to really notice a difference in your life.
Yeah.
I really, the same exact like pull-up thing, I really liked for the reason of, I think a lot of times personal trainers, especially like at the beginning when they're trying to like quote unquote establish themselves, will be like, look at me, I'm Superman. And it's like, no, listen, like going through the same exact things you are, we're all human beings, we all function essentially the same way, under the same like guiding principles. So hey, like this is me showing you what I'm working on too.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell myself as like I am perfect and you should aspire for the rest of your life to be like me. It's like, no, like I can help you along your journey and I'm on my journey too. It's like really we all kind of always are, unless you win an Olympia and then where you can go but down.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and I try to emphasize that a lot too. I mean, like, even as a trainer, like, I have a coach that writes my programming too, especially, like, because I recently got into, like, Olympic lifting, and, like, navigating that shit is just a whole nother world. So, like, there are things that I am very not perfect at, and I'm truthfully not, I'm strong, yes, but, like, in the whole realm, in the whole world of shit of, like, power lifters and everything, like, I am not strong. Like, compared to, like, the girl over here that squats 500 pounds, like, it's, it's all relative. So, yeah, definitely emphasizing that, like, imperfection aspect of it, too. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome to see someone who's going about it the right way, and again, like, seeing you talk about this program is hard. And I hate doing it, but I'm going to do it. And, like, again, just that like, Miles, like you said, like, that realness, that I'm a human being like you, and just because I have the certification or I have this job doesn't automatically mean that I can breeze through overhead squats. Like, it's nothing. It's like, no, those aren't fun, really.
It's very difficult.
It's one of those motions. I mean, it definitely, like, can elevate you, like, because if you see someone doing overhead squats with good form, like, oh, okay, that's a different person. Yeah, as opposed to the person whose, like, arms are askew. And I've seen people in the gym doing Olympic movements, just trying them, and it's like, ooh, that's a great way to hurt yourself. But hey, each their own in the gym. But
it really some things that I see in the gym do hurt my soul, and it's hard to not like go up to people and be like, hey, maybe you should stop.
I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. Actually, a friend who sent in one of the two questions we got for you.
Oh, nice.
So having that conversation with a friend yesterday, it's like, yeah, like, just turning off the, hey, like, just because I'm looking at you doesn't mean I need to, like, in my head, I'm like, this is no, just please don't do that. You're gonna.
Yeah.
But then, you know, contrary to our name, you don't actually want to give unsolicited lifting advice.
Yeah.
So the temptation to like, okay, no, like I can't walk over there unless you're really about to put yourself in the hospital.
Right.
Just I'm staying away. It's still better than nothing. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. And sometimes people are about to put themselves in the hospital. Like, yes.
Yeah, I have once in my life walked up to someone and corrected. It was at Epley, and
Classic.
Senior year when we were in the height of our douchebag lifting. So, but it was this dude was on. He was doing tricep push down, and it was all like shoulders, just like pushing down like this with the rope. So I'm watching him, and you know it's whatever. I don't know what maybe though. I just want to say, hey man, you trying to work triceps? He's like, yeah. I said, oh, well, just pull your elbows in and just credit the form a little bit. And he was doing the whole, doing the whole stack. I just know what his min is. Try to push on the whole stack. So there's a little thing. And then I actually had another guy come up and say, man, I'm glad you said something. I was about to say something to him. I was like, oh, well, now I feel kind of bad. Again, well, I didn't, make a big deal about it. I didn't flag the gym staff down. I was like, hey, buddy, you trying to do the triceps? I'm just here. Pull it in, just, right like there. It's fine.
Which is the best way to do it. Like I had Sam. We've talked about this off camera. Jamie, story time.
Sure. Go in.
So I just went through a 5-week training block where I'm like, okay, I had some lower back problems. I designed this entire thing where I'm like, take some load off of this. And then earlier this week, I was squatting above 225, basically for the first time since the new year. And while I'm doing it, I went through my first set, and I had these guys come up, and first I'll be like, hey, like, how many sets do you have, and the normal.
Yeah.
And then one of them, to be fair, they weren't just immediately like, hey, this. They're like, hey, listen, I'll keep it to myself if you want me to, but I compete, I train to powerlift. Your form overall looks good, but I'm looking at one or two, actually, specifically, so I'm looking at two things that, if you change, I think just immediately it would, come up. And I'm like, no, man, I'm curious. And he was like, well, one, your starting position for the bar, just, bring it down a little bit, just to make it, more natural for you to, pull it up and immediately get started. And then two, he was like, you're just waiting in between reps, man. Like especially at the end, you'll do your 8th one, and then just sit there, and then do your 9th. And he's like, all right, just get up, breathe out, breathe in, and let's go. And then
how long were you waiting, Jesus?
I didn't think I was waiting that long, but so that was 245 for 10, and then I the next set he was like, just try this. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna spot you. Take 275. And I hit that for 10 just off that change. And I'm like, well, I'm just not going to complain about any of this.
Damn.
In my mind, I was like, okay, no, I'm here. I'm just gearing up for the next rep and going. But then now I started consciously wow, I feel red in the face. I started consciously okay, up, out, in, go.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, your form looks good. You're just wasting all your energy away. And I'm like, I appreciate you. And
running laps in your own head. Damn.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the same guy, I was telling Sam, I saw him, I was doing hip thrusts, right after. And I look over at one point and watch this man do, I think it was, 25? It was 65 for 15. And I'm like, look,
damn.
There's a reason I took his advice. Okay.
100%.
Almost like he knows what he's talking about.
Something like that.
See,
That's
so gym people are friendly.
People are so friendly.
Yeah, so this kind of leads into what I want to ask you. So, typically, or I guess not typically, but there's, the stereotype that women don't go to the gym, or they're afraid to, or it's intimidating. And as anyone who's new to the gym, myself, anyone, when you're new to it, it can be intimidating. Are there things that, or I guess, could you assuage some fears for a female listenership as to getting into the gym, and just kind of giving them, helping them with some confidence, hey, you belong here, you can get in here, and this is somewhere where you can definitely better yourself.
Yeah, so what I tell most of my newer clients is that nobody gives a fuck about what you're doing, and that's truth. I mean, look at how many mirrors are in a gym. And if you look at anybody in the gym at one time, they're either looking at their phone or they're looking at the mirror at themselves. And people are just so like absorbed into what they're doing and what they think that everybody else is thinking of them that nobody is actually. I mean, yes, there are people in the gym where like if you see like a glaring error, like we were talking about, somebody's about to fucking injure themselves.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, people are gonna notice and like whatever. But truthfully, people go to the gym to do their own thing, unless you're at like a super weird gym, which I feel like most gyms are pretty normal. Yeah. I mean, the hardest part is showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you show up and just do your stuff, you kind of, like, it's a hard mental block, but you kind of just have to get into the mentality that, like, nobody's really paying attention to what you're doing. And it's definitely hard to get past that, but, yeah, it's just, honestly, hardest part is showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's really well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess it's you know, it can be, for anyone, can be intimidating, whether it's a lack of knowledge, and that's obviously where personal trainers can come in.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of content on the internet that you can find. I've been getting from reputable people. Obviously, we've mentioned some of the people we like, 3DMJ, Dr. Jim Stefani, Steffi Cohn, Dr. Steffi Cohn, excuse me. People like that who just provide good quality advice. But yeah, I mean, there's personal trainers, there's random gym bros, or what's the female gym bro? Gal?
Is that a word?
I don't know.
Am I making that up?
Lady gym bros, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, there's
no. Girls can be bros too.
Sure.
girl bros.
Sure.
But so there's friendly people who will be who will be in the gym, and then I think that having the wherewithal that most people in the gym are very friendly, asking, hey, is this how? And obviously sometimes people give bad advice because they don't know. Yeah. But I think you can be pretty comfortable going up to someone and say, hey, can you spot me on this, or can you help me work out this machine or whatever it is.
Earlier today, someone came up and asked me, hey, can you record my set for me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so even if you don't feel comfortable asking someone else for their thing, okay, well now you've got it on film, and you can go to someone that you know personally and be like, hey, this. Tell me what to do.
And there is definitely a certain camaraderie between females in a weight room for sure too, because it's mostly dudes all the time, but there's that one girl and you're just like, we only do lower body.
That's almost more hardcore, right? Because everyone hates doing legs, so if that's all you're doing.
No. All men hate doing legs.
That's very, very correct.
I'm very much making up for this now. I'm the absolute... Actually, I think I'm the only guy exception I know of. Because when I started off lifting consistently with these guys, the only day that I could keep up with them was leg day. And leg day, I'm sitting up there I'm just as strong, if not the strongest. And every other day, I'm like, well, they're repping at 225, and I'm sitting here with my 95 pounds on my bench press. So I got into a pattern of only showing up on leg day.
That's funny.
And now I was telling Sam, if you take my current lifts and just increase them proportionally, I'm going to hit, which obviously isn't how it works, but humor me. I'm going to hit a 405 squat and deadlift before a 225 bench.
Okay, fuck it up then.
I'm okay, at this point, we're just steering into this skid. This is just who I am now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all relative, too. I mean, It's also, you're going to be better. You're going to like what you're better at, and you're going to be better at what you like, too. So.
Yes.
I'm better at incline bench because I do incline bench, because I'm better at incline bench because I only do incline bench.
But incline's harder than normal.
Yes.
So that means you're stronger on normal, but you're not because you only do incline because you're better on incline.
Shout out Dom Mazzetti, the professor.
Shout out.
That's one of the common humor trends that we had a mutual friend say, you guys have so many inside jokes. It's no, we just watched the same three things.
Yeah.
Was it Emily or Liz? It was either Emily Fairbar or Liz Wilson. And it was when we were hanging out with them.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
She's no, we just watched the same 3 shows.
That's it.
No, seriously, my childhood best friend, shout out Catherine, we there was one point in our friendship where we do we only say SNL quotes to each other? And we're damn, I think that's all we talk about. Yep.
I don't know why the first sketch, of all sketches, the first one popped in my head was Liza Minnelli tries to turn off the light bulb.
I was super into them in high school.
Yeah.
I haven't watched in a while. I
That's
was
what
on
it be
TV, but
for us.
I
Watch
agree.
an update every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Well, Michael Shea's awesome. And then what's his
Yeah.
face?
Colin Jost.
Yeah, Colin Jost. I like when they switch
Married to
names.
Scarlett Johansson. That's honestly
Shout out to that guy.
good for
Really?
him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know
dead
that.
ass. Yeah.
Okay. He just beat out Ryan Reynolds.
Well, he's been married to Lively for a good. I don't follow. I have no clue how.
I love
I
him.
don't
I love
know
them
if
both.
they're
Just
married.
like as actors.
Oh,
I don't know
absolutely
anything about them
fine.
outside of that. But
Their personal lives, I don't know. They never call me back.
I tried to get it, but exactly.
Don't return my letters. So before we go completely off track, we got 2 questions
Hit me.
from female listenership.
Very, very related to each other. One, would you recommend anything different supplement-wise for like, female clients as opposed to male clients? And then the same exact question, but training-wise.
So supplement-wise, I don't recommend any supplements to anyone because your nutrition and exercise should be on point. Supplements only supplement your diet. Having said that, I have a crippling caffeine addiction. No, I wouldn't recommend any. I don't think it's my place to recommend supplements because I don't think that they're absolutely necessary unless you're like really not hitting your protein goals.
Yeah.
And then I recommend like the brands that I like in terms of pre-workout because caffeine stuff. Workout wise, men versus women, no. If a man comes up to me and says, I have these goals, and a woman comes up to me and says, I have these exact same goals, I would recommend the exact same program for them.
Okay.
Typically, men and women have different goals, which is why I go about training them differently. But if a girl comes up to me and she's like, I want 225 on bench, I'm going to train them the exact same way.
Okay. I feel very self-validated by your answer. Because, well, like,
true.
I got the question, I'm like, I know what I want to say, but the entire point is that let's maybe as a guy, I'm not the voice that's needed in this discussion.
It's true, though. It's true. It's just that, like, men and women particularly, they just want different things usually.
Yeah.
But, yep, same shit.
Cool.
Different
Cool,
day.
cool, cool. No doubt.
100%.
So you live in DC, right?
Yep.
How do you like living in DC?
I love it. I grew up in Maryland, so I've kind of been here my whole life. I hate winter, so I'm dealing with that right now. Other than that, great city. I love it. I know it's not like my end goal, but I do love DC.
Look, yeah, I kind of same thing. Lived in Maryland, so like DC was like where we went for field trips
Right.
in school.
Yeah.
And like you heard about on the news is like DC is bad places, and then there's like politics.
Yeah.
But then like graduating college and then starting to go out in DC and really growing to love DC for Admo and 18th Street
Right.
and that kind of stuff. It has been brutal to not be able to experience
I know.
the experience
to
it
the
right
full
now, and
extent.
I am very looking
can't
forward
wait.
to things opening back up.
Vaccine season.
Got my first shot, so
Oh my God! Congratulations.
I work at a school, so
Oh,
they're like,
nice.
stick them quick, please.
That's awesome.
No, it's something.
Sam, you wanna the first day back, you still want to show up in like a full suit.
Oh yeah, okay. So here's our plan for the first day. The bars are back up. Suits and the turtleneck.
Oh, I love that.
100%. Like full three.
Full chain.
Yes. Yeah. See, so she's invited. Like, I'm glad you already got the uniform memo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my roommate and I were talking about this, and we were like, we're actually gonna go full, like a little bit prom. So like,
Ooh.
we're gonna show up in formal wear and like limos. Well, probably party bus, obviously. But we're gonna go like full, like formal event to
Yeah.
like I don't know, like local 16, something like that.
I'm glad that we're not the only one that's on this train.
Oh,
then.
yeah.
I think
100%.
everyone in our kind of age range is like just kind of, at least the extroverts of us, the people who are introverted are loving this right now. But like
jealous.
right? But like those of us who are like, we're gonna. Again, I was saying this back in like, I want to say like October of last year. I'm like, dude, the minute things open back up, full suits, turtlenecks, chain. Going out.
Gotta have your
Again,
plan.
it's like shenanigans or something. Like it's
I
gonna
know.
completely blow it out of the water.
I know, I'm getting a little nervous for like my wallet. Like I'm like, how am I gonna
I've saved so
fucking
much money.
afford all this shit? Yeah.
I've saved so much money, which
Yeah.
is, maybe this is more about me. Formorous degenerate, you know. We're doing better.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit better.
I wouldn't call myself former. I don't know.
We didn't take shots before starting recording this. That's who, us? No way.
That was a joke. That wasn't us.
And that's what here's where we emphasize balance. Because
Yes! See? she's listened to our episodes before.
So I mean, fitness stuff would combined with debauchery, and I think that's important to emphasize.
Our fitness roots was as a means to justify the debauchery.
Basically.
We might be drinking every single night, and we might either be working at or drinking at the same bar every single night. But to be fair, we're also hitting 2-a-days, so come at me, bro.
Our 2015 summer was 2-a-day workouts, 4 days a week, one at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. whenever Epley opened, and then one after we all got off work around 4, and then Fridays the morning workout, and then work, and then happy hour through the weekend.
Oh yeah, see, it's the weekend. The weekend you can maintain. I'm very firm on I don't drink on school nights. School nights.
Yes.
But the weekend is important. It's for the soul.
Is that I call them sanity checks, or so when I talk about diet break, cheat days, which I don't like using the term cheat day because it's not good for your mind, but I call them sanity checks.
Yeah.
So I get mine are these little Lindor, the Lindor chocolate truffles, because I'm fancy. So that's what working at Potomac does to you, by the way. Is they ruin you for everything normal. I got this tin of cookies from a family. It was in a pineapple shaped tin. These were the most delicious cookies I've ever. They're like premium cookies. I didn't know premium. I thought Oreos was the top of the bunch.
Well, I mean,
but no, very true. But no, so my little Lindor, I get 2 a day. It honestly, if I really wanted to, it does fit in my macros. I don't think about it that way. Yeah. It's just strictly for my sanity.
Okay, you know that you sound like you're 50 years old right now.
That's totally fine. I like my chocolates and make me feel good in the afternoon.
2 a day. That's all I need.
When I was getting back in the habit of the gym, I essentially Pavloved myself into making this a habit again. Because what I would do is work out and then immediately have a piece of candy and not track it or anything. This doesn't count. I earned this.
That's so funny.
And I mean, that habit's long gone now, but that's why I love the gym so much.
That's hilarious.
Hey, if it works, it works though.
That's so true.
Yeah. We're all just dogs. We just got thumbs.
Sure.
Yeah,
right.
put that 100%.
Darwin might disagree with you. But so I mean, in gym adherence, whatever little tricks work for you, whether that's candy, a reason, whatever, a small treat after the gym, or anywhere. I don't one thing for me was getting gym clothes was always a good motivation to I gotta work out to wear this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I normally didn't have the budget to do that every single time I worked out. But you get a night, you get
right.
The Rock had a new drop. Oh, I gotta snack that. I gotta go hit shoulders in this now. My mother, however, has figured out what I'm working out based on what I leave the house in. So I'll come back and she'll be like, oh, legs. I'm like, yes. I'll come back and a cutoff. She'll be, oh, see the chest? Yes. I think I'm becoming to a pattern based.
A little bit much of a creature of habit.
That was very funny.
Hey,
So are you guys just basically on a bodybuilder split? Power lifter, power body lifter?
Ish. So what I'm doing, I call myself a power builder, except my lifts aren't big enough yet. Aspiring, there we go.
But don't diminish your progress thus far.
Also, I will stick with this, especially through at this point, since I got back into it, I've dropped 35 pounds and we're going another 5 to 10.
Damn.
I want anyone that doesn't compete, and actually a lot of people that do compete, now that I really think about it, anyone that isn't thinking about regionals and whatnot, take me on pound for pound. It's just squatted almost double my body weight for 10 reps. Take me on at that.
That's what I'm saying too. You're not an aspire. Whoa, you're not You're not an aspiring powerlifter. You're just a powerlifter. It's how you lift. It's not like you're like breaking national numbers. You don't have to be breaking national numbers to say that you're a powerlifter.
I looked up records yesterday because what I'm starting to think about doing is like powerlifting and like competing once before bodybuilding just to get used to competing and like having people looking at you again.
Yeah.
It's been since high school. I'm old. It's been a while. and then realistically, I'm like that probably just, especially if I'm looking at 2 years in between every time I get on stage. There's just something else to do. So like what I've been doing right now is the first half of the week following a pull legs push workout right now. So that repeat and rest. The first half of the week is when I'm like moving around my weight, and the second half of the week is dial it back, and we're just doing like form work, make sure everything looks like perfect, and then rest and repeat.
Nice, love that. Yeah, it's interesting that you're gonna do powerlifting before bodybuilding competition, just because I feel like powerlifting mindset is just so much more fun, and then bodybuilding is just like, I could never do a bodybuilding competition.
So I just started talking about this openly. Like I think I announced it on the podcast 2 or 3 weeks ago. There we go. Oh wow, a month ago. And so my thing was I need to make it through a year, still be like, this is what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna start telling the world about it. My breaking point was every time I tell the story, I'm very careful to be like, my mom was not being body shamey or like fat shamey. And I don't even remember exactly what the comment was. But it was around Christmas 2019. She said something, and I'm like, hey, like, out of curiosity. And in my mind, I was like, I'm like 160, maybe 162, 3. I step on scale and it was like 184. And I'm like, okay, gut check. And the next morning, I was doing some research, and I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to be a competitive bodybuilder.
Fuck it up then.
And, well, it's been working so far. I've dropped a couple pounds. So
do you have a coach or anything, or are you just going rogue?
Right now I'm going rogue.
Nice.
I definitely will get a coach before I start looking at getting on stage.
Nice.
But my first one I might go without. So like my first one I'm thinking about competing a weight class below what I actually want to compete at, just to pop the old cherry, just get up there and just do one show.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, like realistically, this isn't where I want to compete forever.
Mm-hmm.
Even if going up a weight class means I don't do quite as well in terms of placing, that's fine. That's a long-term problem. Just like day to day, I'd rather would be a little bit heavier, and like I'd rather would be moving around a little more weight. And I don't like being as light as I was in high school.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, I look a lot better than I did in high school, but
yeah, I was like, I don't think anybody really wants to look like a high schooler, but
yeah. And so Sam, we've talked a lot about this off camera, where like there have been times where, for example, like when I dipped below the 150 mark, I was like, dude, and he's like, well, like, how do you feel? How are you looking? And like, you know, if this is a problem for you, okay, it's time to bulk, and then you can get back to cutting. And I'm like, no, like, we're just gonna keep going. This is what it is. Like, I think that was like a little call out on, okay, you're getting emotionally attached to things that don't matter. Move past it, and in the long term, you're gonna get where you want to go. This is just step one.
Yeah, I really like following. Like, I follow a couple of like Team USA Olympic lifters, and it's interesting watching them like train and like maintain their weight and like what they view their weight as. Like, I follow this one, I should say woman, not girl, but you know, she's like, whenever she works out so much, and she does, you know, if you've ever done a snatch or a clean, that shit takes so much energy, and she's doing this for hours a day. And she's like, I have to eat 400 grams of carbs still today. It's 7 o'clock. And she's like, there's a certain weight that I operate well at. And sometimes I get leaner and I look cool, but like there is a weight in which my body just functions well, and I need to get to that weight. And it's interesting how they view like their body weight as just like a operating, like, this fuel will make me operate this way.
Yeah.
And it's just such a, like, foreign way for us, like, fucking regular people that are just like, I want to be skinny.
It's make me pretty, please.
Yeah.
We've talked about this both in recovery versus just training in general, but yeah, like that Olympic level mentality is not compatible with having kids or a social life or a job that you have to clock in and clock out at. Like, there's a reason that this is all that they do. Like, if you look at Matthew Fraser or Tia Claire Toomey or Rich Fromm, like any of the CrossFit people, like, the level of training they're doing is, I mean, Matthew Fraser admitted it, like, when he retired recently, he was like, I was so focused on myself during those 5 years, right? Where he was a champ and he was on top by a wide margin, but it's like, this was only me. You know, I don't know if he's married to Sammy, but wife, girlfriend, whoever. I have a lady that, you know.
If she's not his wife, she's about to be.
Exactly, yeah. I think that might have been because he was trained. Like, that's the level of intensity that these people are operating at. And, yeah, that's not meant for everybody. Like, that's meant for people who can dedicate the time. And if that's your goal, like, understand what that entails. And we've had this with bodybuilding before, but, like, know what that really means to get on stage and to get to 7% body fat if you're lucky. Like, that's not for it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for, you know, people who want to do it just to do it. Like, it takes a lot. So it's definitely something to remember when, like, designing your program. If you want to get skinny or be healthy or whatever it is like, you don't need to train snatches for 4 hours a day to be healthy. Like,
right.
Take a walk for 30 minutes. Exactly, yeah. Is it Maddie
Rogers.
Yes!
Yeah.
She's awesome. I
Maddie
like her.
Cakes. Yeah, she's cool as hell. But, yeah. It's interesting to watch.
I do kind of have... I have a little thought, somewhere deep dark in the back of my head, where I'm like, alright, we're just gonna, like, devote everything to chasing a little white piece of paper that says pro on it. And then on the other hand, I'm like, maybe get on stage a couple times and then decide if that's really... Because even now, like, first off, this is the first time outside of just with Sam that I'm, like, really talking about that. And even then, I'm like, no, like, I can't possibly be educated enough to be like, this is what I want to do until you've done something somewhat comparable. It's just... The amount that entails... When, like, every person you look up to says you don't get it until you've done it. Like,
it's true.
You listen to us, you hear us talk about this all the time, but you don't get it until you do it. But I'm like, okay, like, maybe it's time to believe it. So let me do it, and then we'll see if this is something I want to take even, like, another step further.
Yeah.
And if not, it's just the thing that made me not obese, and I'll take it. Because I was starting to toe that line, and, like, Sam, the picture with last week, where it's like, I, like... barely recognize myself. I'm like, that's already a win.
But hey, if you are obese, you can get a vaccine sooner. So there's that. I did the math, and in the District of Columbia, if I gain 30 pounds by next week, I can get a vaccine. So there's that.
Do it. And then
I
just
mean,
drop it
30
again.
pounds in a week.
Okay, no, but by the time you sign up in a week, it'll be like 6 weeks before they bring you in. The things we do to get vaccinated.
Oh my goodness.
But hey, yeah. I mean, that's a good mentality to have too. Though, like, I might like it, I might hate it. Let's find out.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the big reasons why I want Powerlift too, because I think the biggest thing for me is I need something. I need a date, and I want to do this on this day at this time. And if not, I stop caring about going to the gym. I stop caring about my diet. I'm like, I'm not working towards anything because, yeah, I just made the make me pretty joke, but I don't really care enough about looking pretty to, like, hey, I'm going to change everything for this. I need a day and someone to tell me whether they're winners or losers.
See, that's
and I don't need to be the winner, but I need there to be winners and losers.
That's interesting because I am the exact opposite. Like, I train so hard in the gym for literally no reason. Like, like, I'm like, I want a heavy snatch. Will I compete? I doubt it. Like, there's virtually no chance. But, like, I'm like, you know what? Let's train for life.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily.
Which is also more sustainable, realistically.
100%.
Yeah.
Been doing it for a while. Yeah.
Lifting heavier weight for the purpose of lifting heavier weight.
Well, also, I mean, there's also, like, as I've, like, become a trainer and, like, gotten my various certifications and different shit, I'm like, I see the benefit, and my training has evolved in that sense. Like, I started out maybe, like, as bodybuilding kind of training, and now I'm like, all right, my posterior chain and, like, my QL muscle with the way that it's reacting with my abductors that are a little bit weaker than my gluteus maximus, like, it's just all, and now I'm, like, actually training for, like, reasons, for, like, life posture and shit like that, but also for no reason,
It's one of those things where there's this period, I mean, this is with anything, learning anything, there's this period where you learn, and you're like, oh, I know everything, and then you hit this dip where you're like, oh, I know nothing. There's like, I'm trying to remember the exact way it's phrased. There's it's unconscious incompetence, conscious competence, then conscious competence, then unconscious. But this idea is that, like, because you're describing posterior chains, the elbow muscles and stuff, and it's like, this is 6 years-ish into your train, you know, whatever long it's been since you really started training. When you started out, you were just like, squats are good for legs and bench is good for chest. Like, that's had that everyone, not just you. Everybody starts off with, like, oh, I'll do the thing that my football coach, who's also the science teacher, taught me, kind of thing. And then you move to, like, oh, now I know, now I'm watching videos from Dr. Eric Helms talking about, like, you know, carb absorption in mitochondria. Like, there's this level where you finally go, you're like, oh, I know nothing. Cool. And then, but then that, you know, for you that and if it's something you enjoy, that will turn that into, oh, I'm going to train to fix my posture, or I'm going to whatever that thing is for you.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think also with something like health and fitness, you can't possibly specialize in everything, and so you end up at a point of, like, this is what I know, this is what I'm confident talking about, and I'm just going to, like, there's a lot of things where, for example, like, my cousin's been having a lot of knee pain, and my mom was asking me about, hey, so, like, she's been having this, she's been having that, like, what should she do? And I'm like, she should stop telling you to ask me and go see a PT. Because, like,
shout out physical therapists, dude. Oh my god, I love them. They're like magicians.
It's incredible.
It's awesome.
It's so cool. Where it's like, one, I don't know it, and two, I will never know it. So, go to the person whose job it is to know that.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. And, like, you really do have to just kind of, like, find your niche. And, like, it also evolves over time, too. I feel like when I first started training people, I was like, I want beginners. And now I'm like, I want athletes.
Well, I think that, you know, there's, like you said, there's definitely places where you'll, you know, gravitate to. Again, we're getting RA certification. The first thing on my mind is specializing in athletes too, because I got a buddy, former coworker, who's pretends to open in the gym. He's been training NFL collegiate athletes for a little while, and they were like, that might be. I'm like, oh, there's a potential job thing or career, whatever. So, you know, focusing on that for career thing. But I do like thinking forward. I definitely want to work with people trying to drop weight, because that's something I've been doing, and I understand, like, what really goes into those first steps. Obviously, I have a lot of ways to go. But, like, having done stuff that worked for a little bit and failed, and then now finding what works and is working for me, like, that'd be a place I'd want to go. Is, okay, like, I know what I had to do. Let me help you, because I've gone through whatever this process is in my way. Let me give you some tips and tricks and help you push that way.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, too, like, especially as a coach, trainer, or whatever. Knowing what you're putting people through. Like, I'm a firm believer in, like, I'm not going to make my athletes, clients, whatever, do anything that I have no idea what it feels like or what it's doing or, like, whatever. And that's why, like I ended up having a bunch of clients that are women in their, like, late 20s, early 30s, because I'm like, I know what's up with you. But that's also good for you, because so many Americans, I guess people in general, I don't know Americans, want to lose weight. Like, that's like a goal. Pretty much everyone I talk to is like, fat loss, muscle gain. Yeah. It's pretty much everyone.
We can do those things.
I just saw a video earlier this week where it's pulling up, like, national stats. It was like, okay, so, like, if you end up at, for guys, it was around, like, 17% body fat, so that'd be, what, like, 25 to 27, right? Yeah, at 8'10", something like that. The point is that at that point, like literally, I'm just gonna talk about guys because that's where I know the numbers and I know what I'm talking about. So like if you're a guy and you're at 17% body fat, so we're talking about like not visible abs, like you might barely be able to tell the difference between where your deltoid is and the rest. Like by no means like, oh yeah, you're ripped, you're lean, and like what general culture considers that.
17%'s like not fluffy though at all.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
17's decently, not like lean, but like leanish.
Well, yeah, like you're not obese,
athletic.
you're not overweight, but like what I was trying to say is you're not like about to be on the cover of Abercrombie.
Yeah.
So even that is the 95th percentile. If you're that, you're in the top 5% nationally of like leanness, and I'm like, that's surprising to me. Mm-hmm. And I mean, one, that's awesome, and two, okay, maybe like as a country we've got just like health markers, we've got a little bit of work to do somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, America sucks. We know it.
You said it. I won't disagree with it.
We have room for improvement.
And that's what makes us great.
Sure.
I feel a little out of it. I'm the only non-official bartender at this table right now.
Well,
I've done it unofficially for many years, but I'm the only one.
You did it before me.
I did, yeah. So I didn't know you at this point, but we were doing, parties in our apartment, and I gotten really into Tipsy Bartender on YouTube.
Oh my God, I forgot about Tipsy Bartender.
Everyone has it. But I'm sure he's a nice guy. But I got his book, because he had it was like a $10 book or whatever. I got on my Kindle for like $3, and we started, and I went to probably Village Pump. I think it was going to Village Pump, that or CP, because we were still at Commons. Yeah. And I got a ton of stuff. And we just started, we would say, how Commons bars, you walk in the door, then the hallways, so I would just block off a table for where my hallway was, I have all my stuff. And then senior year, I built a bar, went to Home Depot, right there by the Best Buy, and got, 4 4x4s and a thing of plywood, and just made, I was very proud of it.
It lasted at least 2 years, and it lasted still 2 years, left.
And one of our buddies tried to smash with a sledgehammer. The sledgehammer bounced right off. That's how baller I made this thing. But then in our house, same thing. Have it in the back of the kitchen, and we had our friend's girlfriend doing the cover out front because we're gonna make some money here.
Right.
And
it's a business.
Exactly. I had a window behind me, so it was great. The house would be boiling hot, but I have a window behind me, so I was feeling nice and cool. And then you actually, both of you actually worked at establishments for normal people.
Yeah, I would bartend a little bit out of college too. I mean, it's just so fun. It's so it's such a I say this about my current job too. It's a fake job. It's not, but still make money.
It's not a cubicle. It's not. Yeah.
I would strangle myself in a cubicle.
I'm currently gearing up for a cubicle.
I mean, that's why I quit it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm almost done with the Masters, and you can hear my voice excitement about that. I'm almost done with the Masters. At the very least, I've got to pay that off. And we'll see. I was having a conversation with my mom earlier, where I'm like, hey, if I get to work, because I've always liked work more than school, and I'm like, I like these ideas theoretically. I could see myself liking it in the real world. School is kind of all dear God, please end it.
Yeah, I don't think I would be able to go back to, learning full-time. It's not fun.
For different people. I mean, I think working in a bar in general is a fake job, though. Every aspect. Bouncing's a fake job.
Yeah.
What? I have to break up occasional fights. I'm normally just standing there listening to people who are kind of sober telling me how annoying the really drunk people are. Guess who's really annoying? The kind of sober people. We had that conversation the other day where it's the worst people is when you're standing there wherever doing your stuff, and then they come up and go, hey man, drunk people suck, right? I mean, not really. This is a bar. That's kind of what's here.
Par for the course.
Yeah.
That you come here and you come up to one of our terrific bartenders and you might get drunk.
That might happen.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah, one time I was at Bentleys as a customer, stone cold sober, and I was like, whoa. this is not for me.
Well, that's a different. That let's be very honest. That is a very different place than a normal bar. I mean, is it unironically dive or is it ironically dive?
I think unironically. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely what I thought was a dive bar, and then starting to go on DC and whatnot. Yep. Go to Dirty Dan's, and it's like, okay, no, this is a dive bar. Or when we went and visited Nasty in Ohio, and it's like, okay, like, people make jokes about this with Bentleys. This place actually just has a hole in the ground as a toilet. and it is not even exaggerating, like the 5th of the past 7 bars we've been to that like is set up that way. That's just their thing.
I really try to, with people that didn't go to Maryland, I'm like, I try to like, because there's a lot of things that have gone viral about Maryland. There's the fucking My Boo dance, and I'm like, fucking basketball players. And then I'm like, and then there's the hole in the ground, or bucket on the ground, it was, toilet thing. There's the angry sorority letter, which was
DG one, which was
my sorority.
Oh, there he is.
Thank you, everybody who joined that one.
Every guy read that and wanted to marry that chick, by the way. We're like, this person's awesome.
I try to tell my friends about it, and like any of the stuff that like they haven't heard about, like my roommate didn't hear about the sorority letter, and I'm like, how did you not hear about
She got
that?
a
Like,
job
man,
off
like,
of that.
Oh, I forgot she did.
Yeah, I started working at Gawker because of that letter. I hope she's at Barstool now. That'd be the
natural step up.
That'd be good.
Damn, I really can't tell how I feel about Barstool because it's so funny, but I'm pretty sure Dave Portnoy is just like super sexist. So I'm like, like, I don't think I'm supposed to like it. But
So one, I'll say like that I wasn't aware of any of that.
yeah, like people have problems with it, but I don't know the information well enough to have an opinion. I just know that they produce funny content, and that's all I can.
Which like I've listened to him talk about interviews and seen him like I've seen him tear up talking about like. This was just going to be a thing I do because it's fun and I like it. And, like, I was content making 35, 40, max 50 grand a year doing this and enjoying it for the rest of my life. And I'm seeing, like, tear up doing it where I'm like, if that's acting, like, give him an Oscar. That's incredible.
I mean, the most in-depth that I have looked into, like, I've never really watched an interview with him other than, and I don't know if you guys have listened to this, but when Call Her Daddy hit the fan.
Yep.
And, like, the episode that he put out, like, just talking, and I think there was a Call Her Daddy episode where Alex, like, interviewed him, too. And, like, just from those, I'm like, he seems like a businessman that knows what he's doing. But I've also seen so many things on the internet that's like, fuck Dave Portnoy. And I'm like, well, he's
I
just
think
a rich
they
dude.
garner a lot of hate as a company because they're not a traditional media company.
Yeah.
And they've built their backs kind of on, they have some questionable decisions with, like, the Blackout Tour and some of the ways that got publicized. But I think overall, again, I don't know him personally.
Right.
He seems like a stand-up guy. Again, their CEO is a woman. It's, that's kind of a hard argument to make that he's sexist if the person running your company is a badass. Erica Nardini kills it. I don't know. I think it's just, they get a lot of hate because they don't play by the normal rules. And they've kind of
and also cater to a very different clientele.
Yes, and they've muscled their way into like being a very recognizable brand without.
They're a major media player now,
and the NFL hates them too because.
I forgot Roger Goodell absolutely.
Roger Goodell, they arrested him at the Super Bowl. They arrested Dave Portnoy at the Super Bowl because. I mean, they claimed I don't know the full, whether he did actually break in or not. I doubt he did. You can't really break into that place.
Right.
But
it's a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and if he did, good for him.
Kind of hard to break in. But literally, it's crazy because he's in the city. He has, like, a fake mustache and stuff. And then they go to get him out, and he literally just goes limp fish, so they're, like, dragging him out. But, I mean, now he's doing the Barstool Fund, and he's raised over $35 million.
Right, yeah.
For small businesses in New York. So it's like, he's an actor. He's a good actor.
Right. I'm very confused about, To be fair, I've never looked into it. So there's that as well. Just see what I see on Instagram.
So, like, I think the only thing I think of, I saw some stuff about, like, him being like sexist when Call Her Daddy was having, I guess, a lockout, for lack of a better phrase. But then, after Alex coming back and everything, and her being like, oh, well, like, this, and I remember listening to episodes, I don't nearly remember details, but I'm like, okay, like, if you're saying that there were, like, misunderstandings and whatnot involved, I have no reason not to believe you.
Yeah.
And especially considering, like, I mean, yeah, the CEO being a woman and, like, everything else they do. I'm like, until I see something otherwise, I'm comfortable taking that at face value and just moving on with it.
Yeah. It's a thing that I don't really put a lot of thought into, too.
Not at all. Yeah.
I will say the Call Her Daddy drama, that, like, when that happened, that was the first time I understood, like, the draw to reality TV. I just, like, things were so dumb in real life. I just needed an escape.
Well, it was during COVID, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I
The
finally
timing.
understood, because I never watched the Jersey Shore. I never watched, like, I never really got it. Like, I never got, like, just like that mindless garbage TV. But, like, then the world got crazy. I'm like, oh, I now know why people watch this.
No,
this
deadass.
makes sense to me.
Literally, your highlight of the day is going for your fucking 20-minute walk, and I was like, Dave Portnoy's on my 20-minute walk. Like, that was it. Like, there was nothing else happening.
I for the first time in my life, consumed that just absolute nonsense drama.
And
Because
I
I finally understood needing
Right.
absolute nonsense. Had no connection to reality, was not important by any reasonable metric.
Yeah, no.
But it filled my brain.
Right.
And I needed my brain filled.
That also times in reasonably around the same time as, like, Tiger King and that breaking onto the scene.
Everything.
And everyone
Everything.
was losing their minds. And we're just like, what? What do we do? Oh, that dude is like taming tigers. Like,
He's got 2 boyfriends. They're all doing meth. And this lady definitely killed her husband.
yeah. Okay, people on the internet have been like, I miss the Tiger King phase of quarantine. I do fucking not miss that phase. Not at all. Like, not a chance. That was when everyone was locked in their houses and, like, we had
that was the worst of it.
no idea what
That was still
happening.
heavy
Yeah.
duty.
That was
Still heavy duty,
terrible.
yeah.
I think at the time, I was
It's
doing...
still not great, but you know.
Yeah.
But at least now gyms are open. At the
Yes.
time, I was doing squats till failure with just like dumbbells up here, and I will never again take a gym for granted.
I was having to do cardio. Like, that's how bad it got.
Hey,
I was
okay.
running around the lake.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but the gym is my job. So little hard over here. I did purchase a really shitty barbell set from Walmart though. That kind of got.
I remember, yeah. We put that up.
When that comes up, like sometimes I like scroll back through my photos and I see videos of myself like lifting in my living room, and I'm like,
You just
"Ugh."
like hit him on your couch.
Yeah. I was like trying to figure out like a glute ham raise from like the edge of my couch with like a cushion craftfully on it. I mean, I got by, but that was tough.
That's like all those like hotel workouts where it's like you just take the 2 chairs and they'll collapse under your weight as soon as you try to tricep press down on them. Yeah, no, totally that
Yeah.
works.
And
Also,
then-
if you don't check that your hotel is a gym before you book your room, what are you doing, man? These are beginner mistakes.
Full hot tub gym.
That's true. That's so true. I know when the like second wave came in the fall and like we were scared the gyms were going to close again, and I started seeing like UK and like other countries post about like at-home workouts again for the second time. I was like, no. It was so scary.
I do remember following him on actually Instagram and YouTube, but saw like Rob Lipset right before Ireland closed gyms again. Was like, all right, I'm going to Spain, and I'm like, goals. That's what I want to do. Oh, my gym's about to close. I'm just gonna casually go to another country so I can keep working out.
Well, in America, like truly, DC, I think Mayor Bowser was like, I don't know, guys, and we were like, ah, and then and then the Virginia governor, who makes the rules? I sound so stupid.
I think
right
it's a
now.
king. Who knows?
The king of the Commonwealth of Virginia was like, I see the value in it, and there's no data against like gym transmission, so I'm keeping them open. And in my mind, I was like, it's so cool how America has no actual like federal rules. So like, I'm just gonna go to Virginia.
Yeah, exactly, literally.
I was like, this is
My
so
Gold's
silly.
membership works on the whole East Coast.
Right.
I remember like the same exact time Maryland put out a thing of like their from all the data that they had tracked from the contact tracing, and they found 0 cases tracked to a gym. And I'm like, I swear to God, if you try to close this,
And okay, so something that I'm still struggling with is that indoor group fitness classes are still not allowed in DC. And like, if you walk into a gym at 6 p.m., there is a lot of fucking people during COVID times. Everyone's masked, and I never feel like unsafe. I'm just annoyed.
But that's a crowded gym and John's nothing to do with COVID.
Right, exactly. And we're still not allowed to do indoor group fitness, whereas like in a studio, there are so much less people per square foot.
Yeah, I would say, if anything, you're like mandatory spaced out.
Yeah.
It might almost be 6 feet, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. And so like I am still having to take my ass out into the snow twice a week to teach these group fitness classes, and it's driving me absolutely bonkers. It just like doesn't make any sense at all. And they even had a conversation with, because like there's like I guess a board of people in charge of gyms in DC, just like kind of all banded together and had a conversation with the mayor one time.
Probably all fat.
And she literally admitted that there is no reasoning behind it. She just had to do something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's check the numbers. Where are we at? Let's bring it back.
Welcome to local government.
Yeah.
It's insane. Bowser's on my shit list.
That's the same thing as like, oh, indoor dining's not allowed, but
Like
originally over the summer I was like, okay, like indoor dining, outdoor dining, these are different things.
Definitely.
Now I'm like, you're in an enclosed tent, and you're in the same enclosed tent as everyone else. This is indoor. This is like outside of COVID times. Actually, I'm probably even during COVID times, you have to get a temporary building permit to put this tent up. So how does it not qualify as inside?
It's just indoor but outdoor. It's inside the outdoors.
Where I'm like, at that point, it's like security theater. I'm like, we're not. It's the same thing as like taking your shoes off at the airport. It doesn't do anything. It has never done anything.
One guy failed at a shoe bomb, and now everyone has to take their shoes off.
Really?
Yeah, no, the guy failed at a shoe bomb. Yeah.
Oh no.
It like burnt, and then they said with the underwear bomb, the same thing. Like he tried to light it, it just ended up burning him because people who try to blow up planes using their shoes and underwear are morons. So.
Damn. Do you guys ever get like super nervous going through security, even though you don't have any?
Yes, I get nervous every time I leave a store
time.
because I spent too much time going to Home Depots with those faulty alarm things with my dad. So we go get whatever we need, and then we go and but who's doing it for everyone? So we're just like, and they're like, "Nah, you're good." Yeah, every single time I leave a store, I'm like, "Did I steal something?"
Yeah, stuff. And one time, like I think I was coming back from like Bender in California, and he like actually stopped me and pulled me to the side and was like looking through all my stuff, and I was like, what did I do? I was so hungover, and I was like, oh god, I'm not gonna make it. That was tough.
How do you get out of shoplifting? I pretend you have to hurl.
It's like, while you check this, I'm gonna run to that bathroom over yonder.
I
Honestly,
never stole. Like I never was into stealing as a kid. Like I had friends who would.
So
I'm too empathetic to steal.
I have a theory, and I think that there is a very large percentage of teenage white girls that go through a shoplifting phase, and I feel very strongly about this because, like me, most of my friends went through this phase as well. Of just like, let's steal from Sephora, and like let's take like CVS makeup, and like this donut. Like I really think that a lot of teenage girls go through that phase.
That was on Big
teenage
Mouth.
angst.
Like this was a thing they talked about on Big Mouth.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Where it was like it's like rebellion, like your mom doesn't control you. Fuck her. Take this thing. Okay. And you get a little rush. You get a little rush. You know.
Yeah.
It's whatever gets the adrenaline going, and a little bit.
For
of
me, it was
happy.
doing flips on the diving board. That's what I did in middle school.
That's so pure.
Because in my mind, I'm an eagle. Just, ah! And then gravity takes over, like the bitch it is.
I think I had animals. I got too wrapped up in taking care of something else with a heartbeat, where if it died, I knew it was my fault.
It's a little dark.
It's a little dark.
It's a lot of responsibility for a teenager.
But now, like we were talking about this before the episode, I take better care of my pets than I do myself.
Yeah.
I'll get to myself, look at my calorie tracker, and be like, shit, did I forget to eat lunch? And I haven't eaten dinner?
Hold on. Let's talk about this. Forgetting to eat is something that I've never experienced in my entire life. I've never forgotten to eat. I'm always thinking about food.
I'll go through phases.
Okay.
And with me, it has to do with... now it has to do with where I am in, like... Actually, like, contrary to anything, like, when I'm, like, trying to put weight on, like, the second half of last year, I was like, okay, like, lean bulk, if anything. Put on, like, 7-8 pounds across 5 months, where I'm like, okay, pretty much perfect, exactly what I want. That entire time, I'm like, eat, like, yes. Cutting, I get so into, like, the food I'm eating is so high volume, where I'm just, like, throwing all the broccoli in there.
Yeah.
All of that, and I'm, like, consciously trying to stay busy so I don't think about this. And Adderall helps.
Oh, definitely.
And so, like, all of that together kind of combines to... It's 6 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, I should go make dinner. And then I'm like, wait, look, you need to get a lot of food in you, because yeah, we're cutting, but, like, I think I mentioned last week, I'm like, right now I'm running, like, 2,300 calories, and I'm debating bumping it up, because I'm like, we're losing a little bit faster than we wanted to, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's 23. I can't skip a meal, finish at, like, 1,500, and then have that be a consistent thing that happens. Now I'm just dropping for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Plus also, like, that's, like, I feel like one of the biggest things. Like, anytime someone comes up to you and is like, oh yeah, I'm running a diet on, like, 1,200 calories, and you're like, no.
Oh, it makes you want to throw
absolutely
up. Oh my
not.
God, you're ruining your metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough. I've seen that. I mean, it's very common in women too.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, less calories equals better. And I had one client who actually, because we have a registered dietitian too that works for the gym, and she was like, so I talked to the RD and I tracked my calories, and it turns out that I absolutely ruined my metabolism. She's 30 years old, and she's like, so she did a, like, reverse diet, so she got her shit back up to, like, 1,800 calories, which is still low.
Yeah.
And she's like, and, like, now we're going back down, I'm still not losing weight. And she's like, and apparently it's because I fucked my metabolism up so badly that, like, I can't get back to, like, normal, like, cutting,
that
gaining
takes
kind
a
of...
while.
Yeah,
It takes
definitely.
ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of... God, I bring him up every episode. Dr. Eric Helms.
We'll have him on, and
one day.
fingers crossed.
One day.
We'll have him on.
And then when we do, I'm gonna keep all these saved, and just boom, boom, boom.
Oh, you're
boom,
gonna
boom.
do that?
Hey guys, we're here. It's gonna be like, you know how, like, with soccer, they'll take all of the kids, like, all the photos of, or, like, it happened with some kid in Michael Phelps, where it's like, hey, like, this was me at 15, I took a picture of you, and now I'm competing with you. That's gonna be that moment.
It's just be a 17-minute video of you talking about
But he had a blog post about the recovery diet, basically talking about that for competitive bodybuilders, where it's like, okay, you, like, finished your competition.
Yeah.
You were a person with a mission. Mission accomplished. Bump those back up. Like, get that back up. We don't want to keep this going longer than we have to.
Yeah, and I think that's a really hard part too that people struggle with, is the immediately post competition.
Yeah.
Tough.
Which even just, like, because you spend, at this point, like, including the off season, you spend, like, years and years working towards this one day.
Yeah.
And then realizing that in 3 weeks you're not going to look like that anymore, and that's the healthy thing for you to be doing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fucks with your brain for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. I'm sitting here talking about it. Things go according to plan, I'll end up having to go through it, but I haven't yet. I can't imagine it.
You take a picture eating your, like, huge cookie post competition, and then you're like, okay, and then we guess go on with what? Yeah, it's definitely a struggle for sure.
What do you mean I can't look like this year round?
And I think that's the thing too with, like, college athletes, or, like, when you are competitive at a certain level too. It's like post, like that's your identity for a while. Like, that's like your personality trait is like, oh, I'm competing, gotta cut.
Yeah.
And then you just lose it, and you're like, well, guess I could invest in some stocks.
To the moon.
Do I need a personality now?
Yeah.
Just get back in the gym.
Yeah, but it is interesting how much, if you're, like, training, it's interesting how much your food affects your training. Mm-hmm. Like, it's incredible. Like, I'll have a couple days. I've recently started just being in a caloric deficit for just, like, I don't know, summertime, essentially. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, fucking exhausted. And I'm hungry. Like, it's tough.
I've kind of found that, so with my, like, heavier earlier half of the week, I've kind of found that when I take the weekend and just bump the carbs up, I'm like, I feel so much better going into that heavier half than I would otherwise.
Definitely.
And honestly, like, especially when you're doing it consciously, I'm like, okay, well, like, maybe like a little bit of a bump because I just added an extra 400 calories in carbs for a couple days, but you just go through it for a week and you see that it doesn't stick around. It's like, okay, fine, this is what we're signing up for. We're doing this.
Yeah.
Because, well, taking heavy things up is fun, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Sure is.
Which actually reminds me, Sam, we talked about my training split. We didn't talk about what you're doing right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm a bodybuilder-esque, so I'm doing 4 days a week. That works the best with my schedule, and if I have, I'll have, a flex day, so I've been doing chest, tries, legs, shoulders, traps, and then back and buys. And then,
the old bro split.
Oh, yeah. I love it. And, yeah, that's what I like. It's good. It's working right now. Again, focusing on... Guys, I am in a caloric deficit, so can't be trying to set too many PRs. But keeping, a 315 beltless for triples on squats felt phenomenal the other day. So trying to, keep the remembering of what, heavy stuff is, while still, just trying to drop a little bit of weight. I was down 10 pounds 30 days, which is that perfect.
10 pounds 30 days is it?
That's kind of not maxed out, but that's still very healthy without going crazy. So yeah, I'm liking it. But yeah, we do my bro lifting. It's fun.
I think the thing I admire most is he's been doing all this with no cardio whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck it up.
Well, okay, yeah, so the goal was to keep, and I might have to readjust calories again, I gotta figure that out. But to make it so that I can ramp up with cardio as opposed to dropping calories too crazy low, because I'm at 2,800 right now, hovering right around there. So yeah, again, dropping too low, it becomes bad. So yeah, being able to, and also I like food, so being able to bump up.
Yeah, food is yeah.
I don't forget to eat. What I have done in the past is I'll get so busy doing whatever I'm doing that it just I'll be hungry, but I'm I'd rather keep playing Minecraft. Or I've been down a merch rabbit hole. We will have merch coming out at some point. Stay tuned. But I'm just down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So occasionally it'll be oh, that's right, I gotta go. And luckily I pre-make all of my protein for the week, put it in the bag, put it in the fridge and freezer. So all I have to do is go upstairs, grab the bag, grab my carbs, which is either potatoes or rice, bomb, and then microwave, and that's it.
Yeah.
It makes it so if I had to cook every single time, I would definitely be missing a lot more, just because I'd be I don't really feel like cooking this.
Honestly, no, go ahead.
First. I was just saying, we're so polite. I think I was just about to say, I think I'm about bite the bullet. So far, I've been doing cook every meal as you eat it.
That's brave, yeah.
It's been working great because I never have any craving that's unsatisfied. I want something a little sweet, sweeter sauce. I want something a little spicy, spicier sauce. And so I'm I honestly, up to this point, I haven't even felt like I'm cutting, which has been incredible. But I'm starting to get to the point of, okay, well, all the stuff for this. It's time to start applying to jobs, all the stuff for school, being a healthy, functioning member of society. All these things add up.
Right.
Maybe I can't plan on cooking 4 meals a day. Maybe I need to start having some things prepared in advance.
Yeah. And so I've noticed, people that are this, involved in fitness and, trainers especially, just watching what we eat in the break room is so fucking weird. I didn't even realize it was that weird, but this one of the trainers who has a full-time job is only there a couple hours a week. She walked in and it was 8 a.m. and I get there maybe 6 sometimes. So 8 a.m., 8:30, I was super hungry and I was eating a turkey BLT, which is weird to eat at 8 a.m. But I was
at 8. Oh yeah, last week, I was having spaghetti and chicken meatballs at 5:30 a.m. as my pre-gym snack, and I was talking to somebody, I sent a snap, and they're like, "Why are you having spaghetti?"
There is something deeply wrong about that I can't really put my finger on.
That's weird. That's super weird. That's weirder than my thing for sure.
Well, I'm just I didn't think about it. I'm just okay, I want some carbs, and I know life's gonna be easier later in the day if I get some protein in now. I'll just put this all together and let's go.
And fuck it up.
And then that got brought up, and I'm Oh, right. That's not. Because I made a remark about how my favorite part of eating pasta is taking the piece of bread, just soaking up all the leftover sauce at the end. And she's like, "Why? It's 6 a.m." I'm like, "Well,
You don't get it.
I gotta work out in a half hour."
Fast digesting carbs.
Yeah, this is that food is numbers thing.
Yeah, it is. I realized recently that I eat like how did I put it? A recently divorced father that knows that he has to eat healthy but doesn't know how. Like, so, because I was sitting there and I was eating, so I get pre-cooked. I can't cook, but I eat very well for someone that doesn't cook anything. So, like, I get, like, pre-cooked chicken from Trader Joe's. There's, like, grilled seasoned chicken that suffices for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
That's
Suffices.
all I eat is like that chicken and like vegetables that are also pre-cooked that I put in the microwave. And I was sitting there eating my literally grilled chicken, ketchup, and sweet potatoes, and I was like, this is sad. This is fucking sad. But I'm cool with it.
I think the worst moment on that note that I've ever had, this was last year. But I finished the day and I was looking at my tracker and I'm like, I'm about like 100 grams short on carbs.
Oh, that's the best.
Oh, it was incredible. I don't regret any of this. It just was an awkward explanation.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, like everything else looks great. Just this. I went, toasted a bunch of bread, poured out some fruit juice, and I'm just sitting in the kitchen table, eat, sip, eat, sip, eat, sip. My cousin was staying.
Did you put anything on the bread? Be honest.
No.
Yeah.
And my cousin comes out and he just stares at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like, "Gotta get my carbs, man." like everyone always talks about their protein, and I'm like, protein has never been a problem for me. If I just eat naturally, if I just eat what I want, I'll be like 70 to 80 over on protein, and everything else is falling short.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, no, for me, the conscious thing is, bread is good. Fats are good. These things keep your body functioning normally.
Yeah. Carbs make a difference.
Carbs make a big difference.
100%.
Yeah. That was kind of my moment of like, what am I doing? I don't regret it. I'm gonna keep doing it. Yeah. But like, what am I doing?
Was this before or after the 5 a.m. spaghetti?
This was like 7 months before.
Okay, all right. Glad that wasn't the first moment. Like, like if spaghetti was okay. As long as you know.
It's like microwave spaghetti. I had some chicken left over from last time. Let's just throw it all together. Let's go.
Yeah, totally.
Mine was kale and tuna.
Ooh, so
in a Tupperware, eating behind tidings.
So
at 11 in the morning.
So I need a little more details. So like, so like bumblebee tuna, like out of a can, or like tuna, like the fish. Like
a can of tuna.
Sure.
In with a fistful of kale behind tidings between my classes.
Only because you said fistful, I'm imagining you behind a building with like a fist of like tuna salad and fucking kale. Just
no mayo. I mean, maybe salt. I don't know. Like that was
Red Hot.
That was no. This was torture. I think I was following one of Jim Stepani's workouts like to the T. Yeah. As in like I copied every single thing from the meal plan. Straight, like, down the line, mozzarella sticks, apples, nuts, like just a thing of almonds, which is like, okay, but it's kind of sad when you're McKeldin eating just almonds.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Almonds are not filling.
No.
They're
not at all.
Okay, nuts and I feel so strongly about this. Nuts in general and, like, nut butters are too caloric for how not filling they are. And I know it's because they're just fats, but
completely.
Yeah. Like, I could down an entire jar of peanut butter.
Well,
Easy.
That's why, like, whenever anyone complains to me about, like, you can't get enough calories for bulking, I'm like, dude, like, this is not a problem. Go into the store, get some honey roasted cashews, And your problem is going to be that you want too many of them.
Yeah.
This is not a problem.
A handful of trail mix, you're good. Fucking 500 calories.
That's what I'm saying.
Crazy.
Yeah, get it. It's the quality that's hard.
Yeah. Meaning macros.
What are micronutrients?
Yeah.
What is B12?
Yeah.
Could not tell you.
Started taking vitamins recently.
Yeah.
So that's been definitely an adult thing.
That's one of those things where, like, I know my mother has a box, like, she gets those big things, and it's all like, herbs and just stuff to immune boost and blah blah blah. But she's just like blah 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 blah. I grew up with she has like 20. I grew up with that, where she get her again, and it's good. She doesn't get sick or anything, but it's a very adult thing.
It definitely
my grandfather had a pill box that whatever. 2-3 medicines the
Monday through.
Yeah. So I agree. Vitamins is one of the, because if they're not chewy or Flintstone shaped, like does Flintstones make adult vitamins now?
Well, there are definitely gummy vitamins for adults.
Oh, lit.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot actually.
Can vouch.
Yeah. Yeah, I did for a while.
I think now, like in terms of just being pills, one of my little traits, along with the eating bread in the middle of the night. One of my little traits where I'm like, okay, like we're getting very used to this. I've gotten in the habit of like in the morning I'll just have all of my like everything for the day. I'll normally do it right before the gym where I'm like just got everything I need in one hand. Okay, hop, swig, down, one go. And I'm like, this is way too comfortable. I got way too used to this. Granted, I've been doing it every single day.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, no, we're just pop it and go.
My worry with that was always like, if you don't have enough water, you'll have a pill pop in your throat. Mm. And I had that issue because I took, like, back in high school, I took this acne medication that was like good, but one, it made you stupid nauseous, and if it got stuck, whatever, it would dissolve and your throat burned for like 3 days. It was just like the most uncomfortable, like acid reflux burn for like 3 days. So it was like I'd be on the bus, and you had to eat it on an empty stomach for it to be really effective. So I'm on the bus to school, and for like 3 months, I just felt like I had to throw up every day going to school.
Oh, it's like you have morning sickness like a pregnant lady.
Basically, yeah. And it's because I didn't want to have pimples or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I eventually started just like taking crackers or something. And it was weird because like I knew I wasn't going to throw up because I didn't have anything on my stomach. But I'm just like miserable for like a 45-minute bus ride for like months.
It sucks. Aww.
The price we pay for beauty.
Yeah, for real.
It's definitely been. I always make sure not to eat before the heavy squat day. Where I'm like, if there's ever a day where I feel like I'm gonna throw up, this.
I have never thrown up from a workout before.
Really?
Yeah.
I did earlier this week.
I don't throw up often though. Like, I don't throw up when I'm drunk or anything either.
I don't, and I think maybe once, twice ever. That's like a point of pride for me where I'm like, I do a lot of times get to a point. And honestly, this might be a self-feeding thing of I only feel this bad because I'm fasted and, like, completely fasted. But I only ever really feel that bad where I'm doing, like, a very intense compound exercise and I'm going completely stone cold empty, like, nothing in my system for the past 12 hours.
Ooh.
And we're going in and it's like, okay, like, that third set is dig deep and just get through.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've never come close to throwing up lifting. I did have a session in high school. I was working with a trainer. Shout out Casey. Casey? It was at Bally's in Kentlands. And
oh my god, I remember that Bally's.
So you know the parking lot?
Yeah.
So it's these giant hills. So it was, and it wasn't on him, it was on me. Before the work, I got there a little early, and I went to like the gas station, got like a Gatorade, and drank the Gatorade before the workout. So I'm like, I need to. I was like, 15, 16, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. So we're doing the workout. And it's, it was sprint up the hill and you can walk down. Take as much time as you want to walk, but you're sprinting back up the hill. So we did that in the whole workout session. And I remember being in the locker room after we finished, and I'm like, ooh, feel a little weird. And I just take the bus home. So I walk down to the bus stop. I'm feel like, it's deep breath.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see the bus coming. And I'm like, I got this. And I chucked behind. There's like a little, there's like the bench, and then there's like a little hedge. So I'm behind the hedge, and I vomited up what was pure Gatorade. I could have put
Just,
it.
like,
I could have
bright
put
blue.
it back in the bottle and sold it. Like that's how much.
Glacier.
That's all it was.
freeze puke,
It was
like-
actually it was yellow. It was.
Sorry,
I'm a lemon lime person. And then I popped right up and get right in the bus. So I was puking in rally at 15 years old.
Did the driver say anything?
No, I don't think anyone saw it because it was like I don't know, because we just forgot something behind. I just got up and sat down. But I was super glad I did that because like you're sitting and you're like, okay, we can hold this down. I don't think we can hold this down. And then the bus comes, you got to make a decision now. Now it's okay. Do I really? Now I have to. This is a 30-minute ride back to my house. So are we making it 30 minutes? Or are we gonna be a man right now and just get this out of the way? So got out of the way. Got on the bus, didn't have any issues. I'm like, I would not have made it on the bus.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it was 24 ounces of pure yellow Gatorade. Would have been
That's incredible.
some very unhappy bus passengers that day.
That
on
is
the way
tough.
I spent a lot
man.
of time waiting at that bus stop in the snow, because when you can't drive. And my parents were working, so I did the bus home, and it was like you're in the snow, and the pain of like walking out and seeing the bus.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, well, there goes 30 minutes of my life as I wait for the next one to come around. That's a character
tough.
builder. That's one of the things. I'm glad I didn't have Uber and that wasn't an option. And cabs, not really in the city for cabs, because I had to deal with public transportation, and that taught me patience. It taught me to love my car.
Happens with Metro too a lot. I feel like. I know, we're finally at that age where we're like, kids these days don't understand with their Uber and their iPhones.
Uber's
like,
a big one. Like,
yeah, that's
Uber's
huge.
a game changer.
Yeah.
Huge.
I remember even still, like, senior year of college, it still being like what? Like, is people really...
Yeah,
okay?
I remember, like, the first time, or one of the first times using it was a snow day drink in college. It was, like, maybe sophomore, junior year. We were all getting Ubers because it was snowing outside. I remember I Ubered from like down Knox Road, like a couple blocks past Bentleys, up to like the Knox Towers, and I was like, "This is dope! Like that's $5." But
see, we walked from Berwyn to Bentleys, which is like almost 2 miles.
Yikes!
That used to be when I started.
That's a great walk, though. At the end of the night, though, it's a great walk. There's a McDonald's on the way too.
So true.
It is like when I started working at Bentleys, I didn't have my car or anything yet, and so I would do that walk home, walking past all the people that I just kicked out of the bar.
Right.
And I think after I was on my second or third week of doing that when Rico saw me doing it, pulled up and was like, "Are you about to walk all the way?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I live like 4 blocks over. Get in, we're going."
He did the exact same for me too. Yeah, it was like a cold, windy day. And again, because I'd only been working there like a couple weeks, so you're not pushing anyone around, you're not trying to, show off or anything. So I just go walk home, and then suddenly pulled up, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, walking. He was like, "Getting." I'm like, "Okay." And
Oh, there.
Don't have to tell me twice. But yeah, like until the day I got in my car, just every single time at the end of the shift, you're like, "Hey man, like you need a ride?" And it's like, just the little things that you appreciate.
Yeah, 100%.
I started seeing movies with Rico on Sundays.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's adorable.
we started like hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah, we go to sushi together. Actually, as soon as the place in College Park opens up, we're gonna go back there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I haven't seen him in like years.
Still killing it.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, still doing his thing.
Doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's an interesting spot to be in, like that kind of local. I hope he doesn't listen. I don't want to go to his head, but like a kind of a local legend, like people
He's
from
famous.
like
Everyone in College
10
Park knows
years
He also
in either
knows,
direction knows
Yeah.
knows Rico.
Yeah, dude. The last summer, I think Freedom Week. I think of like the 9 or 10 times we went to restaurants. Like 7 or 8 of them was with the server who recognized me or someone else at the table off of Bentleys. And I'm like, we are hours away. There is an entire body of water in between us, and y'all still followed me here.
That's so funny.
Well, there's like a Ocean City to Bend's kind of pipeline.
Very,
There's
very
like a
carried.
huge,
Very carried.
There really is.
Sergeant Green, Jaffe, like a whole bunch of people. The whole all the Marines basically have done back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But, All right, I think on this note we probably should wrap up, but at this point it's very much,
An hour
very
and a half in.
deservingly so,
Hour
our
and a half
longest
in.
episode ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's almost like
tangents.
it's almost like we're friends. Yeah, guys, thank you, Jamie, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This
so
was
much.
so much fun.
We-
First podcast. I was
Hey,
excited.
you're a natural. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Second week in a
Second week in a
row.
row, we said the same at the same
Second
time.
week in a row that he owes me a soda. Yeah, well, definitely gonna have you back on. I mean,
100%.
yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Fine, guys. I'll be your third regular.
All right, well, you've been listening to Unsolicited Lifting Advice. Thank you for tuning in for another week. Check us out at ULA Podcast on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Quickest way to contact us is almost always Instagram. The episode will be out at midnight Eastern time on all of the major podcast platforms. If there's any platform we're not on, you want us on, we can definitely make it happen. Just let us know. If you like the podcast, the best way to help us out is to rate and review us on your app store. And also, the video will be available on YouTube. That's the first time I got through by myself. Yes!
There you go. Jamie, what are your social media accounts so all of our followers can give you some love?
Instagram is pretty much the only one that I update regularly, I suppose. Jamrapp _, so JAMRAPP _.
We'll also make sure to tag her, so if you just look at the Instagram, there's a quick, easy find. And yeah. All right.
Cool.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.